Okay, I believe it is recording. Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Holthouse. I serve as Director of Careers for Leiden High Schools. This evening, I'm going to be talking about our early college credit opportunities at Leiden. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute along the way. Happy to answer them. We are here for you. So I'll start by saying that we have a fantastic relationship with Triton College. We have tons of early college credit opportunities, and what we tend to do is generate transcripts at Triton College. Those transcripts are transferable to other schools. I'll get that out of the way. It's probably the biggest question I get is, does this mean I have to go to Triton College after I graduate? No, it does not. If you participate in early college credit programming, you'll have a transcript from Triton College, and you could choose to send that anywhere that it is accepted. There's some resources like Transferology we use to see how and where things transfer. But tonight we're going to talk about all the different types of early college credit, from kind of our most popular types down to our most selective types. And the most popular type that we have by numbers is dual credit. Dual credit is our classes that are offered at Leiden High School by a Leiden High School teacher. What we've agreed to is we've agreed to teach Triton College curriculum, and we've agreed to put a teacher in place that qualifies as a Triton College professor. They have to do the same application. They have to sit through interviews as if they were teaching at Triton College. They just happen to be on our campus and be a Leiden teacher. So for a student in that class, it is no different than being in a high school class, other than they're getting that college content. What happens for the students that opt in is that they'll have a high school transcript, which always happens for all of our high school students. But for that students that opts in, they'll have a second transcript, and that transcript will be from Triton College for the Triton College course. So here's a listing of the specific courses where we have the right content and we have the right instructors in place to offer it for dual credit. You'll notice this is slightly different than maybe like our AP program, which is fantastic. Our AP program tends to be in the core areas, while our dual credit program tends to be in the elective areas. So we have two different art classes. We have two different business classes. We have a number of FCS classes in both the culinary world as well as education. We have classes in manufacturing, automotive, construction, engineering, and then athletics. On the left-hand side, you'll see the Leiden High School course. This would be the course that a student can opt into when they sign up with their counselor in the next month or so. On the right would be that Triton course that shows up on their Triton transcript. If they do sign up for a course like this, there is that additional step. We want, the guardian to opt in and recognize that they'd be creating a secondary transcript. The post-secondary transcript is different than a high school transcript. In the world of work, they'll tend to ask for that post-secondary transcript for much, much longer than a high school transcript. So we want to make sure we're successful. When once we finish course selection, we send a letter home to guardians. That'll look like the one on the left here. There's an additional addendum to that letter down at the bottom that talks about things you have to do and due dates. But this would be, hey, you're in a dual credit class, please opt in by this date. And then there'll be a secondary email and letter that goes out as well. So that way, the student's aware that they're in this course and they can opt in, or there's even an opt out. So we just confirm the decision with the family, and that lets us know whether or not you want that secondary transcript. So pretty easy. In the next couple of weeks, students will be selecting their classes for the 26-27 school year. Kind of crazy to think that we're already doing that. But that's going to come up just about in November. If a student does select one of those 16 courses, we ask they fill out the opt-in or opt-out form. It's the same form. We just want you to click one of the buttons. Do you want that credit or do you not? And then we know that grade, whatever grade that student earns, will show up on the high school transcript. And if they opt in, it's going to show up on the Triton College transcript. So we want to make sure that student's super successful. In last year's classes, 95% of our students earned an A, B, or a C in their dual credit class. That's a great grade to show up on your post-secondary transcript, and that's what we're looking for all of our students. Tons of benefits to dual credit. It does create that post-secondary transcript. It's going to save families time and money. So if they do end up in that content area, they're not going to duplicate the coursework. They're going to be able to shorten their time that they have at the post-secondary world. So that's dual credit. And just I'll pause for a second. Any questions about dual credit, those on-campus classes? And feel free just to unmute yourself and shout it out. Not hearing any, so I'll move on. Our next form of early college credit is called dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is for classes that are offered at Triton College. So it's with a Triton College professor at Triton College. So a little bit different. What we do is we mirror the grade back that's earned at Triton College to Leiden High School. So that's where the dual comes in. You still get high school credit for the course. And of course, you have the college credit because you are at the college. We still pay for all the tuition, even though you are off campus. And then again, credit is awarded on the high school side and on the college side. Like before, it saves time, it saves money. Typically, the dual enrollment program is used for one-off courses that are outside of the bell schedule. So a student may have a traditional period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 schedule. And then in the evenings, if they want to take a class, usually it's something that's not offered here at Leiden. A good example is fire science. We really don't have any fire science classes, but we do have students that want to become firefighters in the future. They could take a fire science class in the evenings. We'll still cover the tuition. They'll still get high school credit for it. And it doesn't interfere with their typical bell schedule. It's a little bit different than our dual enrollment cohorts. So a cohort is a group of high school students that are taking a series of college courses. Usually with these, we block out the morning or sometimes the afternoon to take a specific set of courses. So these are all morning cohort courses. So we have 4 criminal justice courses, and students are released in the beginning of the school day. They go to Triton College and they're in criminal justice 111 and 171 during the first semester, and the second semester during criminal justice 148 and 166. That gets them 12 credits towards the completion of a criminal justice certificate. So they're employable after the end of this, but it does require students to transport themselves to Triton College. So transportation is on the family, and it does take a significant amount of the school day. So you want to make sure that your student is successful their freshman and sophomore years, and that way they can take advantage of this their junior or their senior year. The types of cohorts we have, again, usually focused on a career area. We have ones in criminal justice, a dual enrollment cohorts in education, in emergency medical technicians, in fire science, and then in welding. One of our most popular cohorts is our CNA program, or our Certified Nursing Assistant program. That one is an afternoon cohort. So students are still released from the school day just for one period, period 10. And they're in class at Triton College in the H building with a CNA instructor for a semester. It is 5 days a week and sometimes Saturdays for clinical hours. And they have a clinical experience. They qualify to sit for the Illinois Department of Public Health nursing assistance exam, and then they are a certified nursing assistant at the end. So we've had a number of students that have gone through this program. It's very popular, and it's a great way, great entry point into the health science sector for students. So tons of opportunities there. Again, off of Leiden's campus, on Triton's campus, still no cost, but the transportation is the responsibility of the family. I'll pause there before I jump to the other type of early college credit. Any questions about our dual enrollment programming that we have with Triton College?
Hi, I have a quick question. Are we going to get a copy of the this PowerPoint?
Of course. Yep. I will put that in the chat. And it is public, so feel free to make a copy, any of those things. But yep, don't have to memorize everything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So just put that in the chat. Any other questions? All righty.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
I'm sorry. I have a clarifying question. So the dual enrollment program is only for their junior and senior year, correct?
It is just because of the transportation piece. So typically it's open to juniors and seniors at Triton College. I don't think we've had a freshman or sophomore yet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before I move on? All right, awesome. Again, if a question comes up, just feel free to unmute. So our last type of early college credit programming that we offer is our most intense version of early college credit programming. It is our dual degree program. This is for current sophomores for full-time on-campus junior and senior years. So what it is a junior and senior year program. And in that program, students take core classes towards an Associates of Arts or an Associates of Science. These classes are picked out ahead of time by the high school and the college to make sure that they fulfill both high school diploma requirements as well as associate's degree requirements. We've also worked with the college to make sure that they're highly portable courses. So that means that they usually fall under the Illinois Articulation Initiative or IAI courses. It's a law that says that courses by law have to transfer within public universities within the state of Illinois. So that means a student can take a number of courses at Triton College and transfer to UIC, NIU, ISU, really any in-state public institution, which makes it, again, a highly sought after degree. So these are the preferred requirements for students. Students don't have to meet absolutely all of these, but these are the things that we grade students against when they submit an application. The application ultimately goes to a committee, and that committee makes the final decision on who's accepted into the cohort that year. So we say they have to be good within good standing at Leiden. We're talking about behavior there, so just making sure that behaviorally they're on track, no issues. They're on track to graduate. We're looking at their credits. We look specifically at their algebra performance and their geometry performance, because again, the accelerated math and accelerated English that they would get in that early college setting is quite intense. Excuse me. We make sure that students have a 2.8 or better GPA, that they did well on the pre-ACT, that their attendance is at 95% or better. And then we make sure that they have conversations with at least a couple of their teachers and especially their counselor and their guardian to make sure that they've really reflected before making this choice. Again, just like all of our early college credit programming, we're grateful that we get to do this for the families that we serve at no cost. So there's no cost for tuitions, for fees, for books. That is all billed to the high school, and we take care of that for all students. We have a couple of ways that we check in with students because they are off campus for 2 years. So we do weekly virtual check-ins. Students self-report attendance once a week. Once a month, I am on campus at Triton College and just checking in with students, making sure everything's going great. We make sure that we connect them to resources that are offered at Triton College as well. They have a great academic success center, so free tutoring is always available. There's a transfer center, so for students that want to earn a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate, they can still continue on with their education. And the transfer center is really good about making sure that they could bundle their associate's degree and save that time and save that money. There is a required dual degree boot camp. And so that really sets the foundation for success for our students. They show them how to get into the Triton email, the Blackboard. They go through, the library and all the different features of the library, like where the quiet floor is and all those good things. And so that's 2 days a week. And it is over the month of July. So it's 4 weeks long. So that's the summer between their sophomore and junior year. And that is on campus at Triton College. And right before then, usually late May, early June, there's a student orientation that the guardian and the student are expected to attend. So those are kind of our supports to make sure students are successful as they begin the program. This is a little brief narrative on what that boot camp's all about. But again, it sets success for students as they first enter the early college experience. And just like all of our programming, it saves time, it saves money. We do our best to make sure that students are regularly checked in on, but they do have a very different schedule than that of a high school student. So we know when they're at our high school, they're under our care. We don't have an open campus. Students are with us from 7:30 in the morning to 2:40 in the afternoon. And that's every day, Monday through Friday. With a college schedule, every student's schedule is going to be slightly different. Often there's blocks of time where students are at the library or are free to go on their open campus, right? Students go off campus for lunch, things like that. So it's a little bit different of an experience for that junior and senior year than a typical high school experience. So that's important to think through and reflect. The other thing, because every student's schedule is different, we're unable to provide transportation to Triton College. So transportation would be on the family in order to get that student to and from Triton College throughout the school year. These are our Leiden High School graduation requirements. So we make sure that these are fulfilled by the time a student exits the dual degree program. They'll already have 2 years of English completion, 2 years of math completion, just by being a sophomore and being on campus with us. We'll make sure the rest of those English and math requirements are met. Same thing with science and social studies. I will give a special note to physical education. There isn't an equivalent to our PE experience that we have at Leiden at Triton College. They do have a class, but it doesn't meet daily like the required one does for the state. So there's just a piece of paperwork that we fill out that allows students to opt out of PE requirements just for their junior and senior year as part of this program. And then the only kind of special thing is we do call juniors back in the spring to take the ACT. The ACT is a state requirement for graduation. All students have to take that. So we make sure that all of our dual degree students take that as well. Here's an example of what a student schedule may look like. So typically in that junior year, it's about 4 classes a semester. So it's a mixture of English and math classes, as well as some other transferable core classes. And I would say most of our students have classes 4 days a week. Usually classes meet Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays. There is an occasional class that'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I would say not all of our students have classes on Fridays. So that's something to think about, right? If a student doesn't have class on Friday, they are welcome to visit the school and visit with their advisor or their counselor. But often students will either go on campus to Triton or stay home and just work on their studies. That junior year, it picks up a little bit. Typically, students take about 5 classes a semester. So it does pick up a little bit. As students show and demonstrate their success, they are free to take alternative classes such as online classes. So they might have an online class that is within their schedule, and that's especially common their senior year. So again, different format for students as they progress through their early college experience. The big thing is if a current sophomore is interested in doing this, they need to make sure that they complete their application and submit it to their counselor before December 19th. So that application has to be fully filled out, it has to be signed. There's signature lines for the student, for the guardian, for their counselor, and then for a couple of teachers. And again, every signature represents hopefully a conversation, right? A deep conversation, a reflection on whether or not this program is right for you. There's some checkoffs for preferred qualifications. Obviously, the more that a student is able to check off, the better their chances are of being accepted. And so that will then go to a committee, and then by the start of second semester, they'll know whether or not they were accepted into the program. This application can be found just by Googling Leiden dual degree. If you do that, that application page is on there, easy to download. I'll also link it in our chat so you can see that. But that is how students opt in. If they are accepted, the next step is for students to take the AccuPlacer. So the AccuPlacer is a placement test that all new students at Triton College take. It's similar to the SAT or ACT. It will assess the student's level in math and English. And with that, it will put them into the appropriate math or English class. Some students will qualify for what we call college level or 100 level English and math classes right away. That's fantastic. Some may not, and that is perfectly okay. Sometimes students are coupled with a support class, and that allows students to have just a little bit more support as they take that first college level English or math course. And that test is taken at Triton College in their A building, which is the same as their library on the first floor. That's where the testing center is. again, students would get tons of information once accepted into the program on next steps and how to proceed. But with that, I'll turn it over to our guests here for any questions. If you have a question, just feel free to unmute. I'll go ahead and just stop the recording. Thank you again for being here.